These are not U.S. military drones. Again, this is being investigated by local law enforcement. What our initial assessment here is that these are not drones or activities coming from a foreign entity or adversary.
You're telling me we don't know what the hell these drones are in New Jersey are? Is that correct?
That's right.
It's crazy. I mean, that's crazy. That's madness that we don't know what these drones are.
From the Coast Guard, who said that one of their 47-foot motor lifeboats was followed by between 12 and 30 of these drones as they went through the water.
These are 6-foot drones that are somehow evading our detection. They are not being detected.
They're saying no threat, but how the hell do they know? They don't know anything. They don't know what it is. They don't know where it come from. They don't know nothing.
They know that they can't track them. They know that they don't emit a signal. They know that they can't see them when they turn their lights out. They also indicated that they don't know where they come from. They don't know where they go to.
One family claims they followed a drone in their car, and while it hovered above them, the clock in their car changed times.
Some of the FBI agents that have been assigned to look into this have reported drones flying over their homes.
It's right here over Picatinny, there was a drone just hanging out. I put my drone up in the air and went towards it. I had full battery life. Not 3 minutes into the flight, I lost control of the drone. Warning on my screen, lost control, and my drone started going down, dead.
These are fully charged batteries. It's 2 batteries that have died within seconds, and the drone went up and, like a couple feet off the table, and then came right back down.
Okay, you see it? You see how it goes? See how it goes? And then it becomes a spacecraft or aircraft or whatever you want to call it.
What the fuck is that, bro? Did it just get smaller? Bro, what?
Above the ocean, and it was low, very low, but so bright and so clear, and it was huge. Like when you...
I'm concerned. I issued a letter to ask for more information, and I think there should be a lot more transparency about that.
Can you make that make more sense? Because I think people in New York and New Jersey see drones the size of an SUV over their house every night and think that that doesn't make any sense.
I understand why people would be looking at this and being concerned about it. We're concerned about it too, which is why we have the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI. My goodness, looking at this, and we're taking it seriously. We
Okay, let me know if you guys could hear me. I was having audio issues before, and like I said in the comments, I'm going ghetto mode, where I basically I'm using my phone, but putting all the videos on my computer because for whatever reason my microphone does not work. But yeah, a little bit of a break for Christmas and the New Year's, and I've actually really been busting my butt on the documentary about this stuff, and it's the first one. Hopefully, will be coming out hopefully by the end of the weekend. It's it just covers basically a lot of the previous drone incursions, and then it obviously goes into this Jersey stuff up until the DHS hearing, which already feels like 3 months ago. Today there was a bunch of breaking news that we had to cover. Yeah, great. And today we're joined by Tim. So Tim, how's it going, bro?
Pretty good. Crazy developments today with all of this stuff, and it's kudos to you for keeping up on all of this these last couple of months. So it might be coming to fruition here.
Where are you with everything? And where were you initially? You were, and I kind of was for a little bit too, in the is this Lue Elizondo and KMF in vans around New Jersey putting up drones? Where were you and where are you now?
So I, for the longest time, was thinking that, I mean, obviously some of these are probably misidentified things, but there was no doubt in my mind that I think that some of these were some sort of UFO or objects that people are not familiar with, specifically the ones that are around bases. And then when you're hearing reports by Coast Guard that are saying that they're seeing them coming towards them on the water and stuff, I thought that those stories were way credible and things that we've heard for years, before this. So I think that there's a lot of this that just was getting caught up, news media showing things that might have obviously been planes that were in the sky. But I definitely thought that there were some people that were seeing objects that are probably a little bit more unexplained than just a typical airplane coming in for landing.
Yeah, and then with these developments today that we're going to get into, and we might even get Tupa here if he can. We send him the invite. He might be busy. But yeah, I might as well just get through it. And yeah, I missed a bunch of you guys too. Doing all the probably not gonna be able to shout out because I feel like the the ghetto mode has me like all bugging a little bit. But I love that everyone's here. See you guys all here. I'll hopefully be able to keep the comments up as we go through the stream. But basically, when we last met, it was about what, 10 days ago or so. And basically, after Biden's comments, the mainstream media went all in on the hysteria narrative. And I didn't pull this because there's so much stuff to cover. But basically, in the time we've been separated, y'all, Mick West has just been making the rounds and has had quite the media tour. Like, he's on every channel now saying, like, it's all hysteria. These are drones, blah, blah, blah. But point being, though, these things are still being all reported around. So here's December 26th, the day after Christmas, a new report out of Colorado. We'll just watch this.
Reached out to KRDO 13 Investigates following the recent headlines of drone sightings along the East Coast to share their own video clips of similar sightings. We reached out to several agencies in Colorado to see if those mysterious drones are now moving west. KRDO 13 investigator Michael Lagerwell shares their answers with us tonight. Michael.
Nearly every agency I reached out to said they haven't seen an increase in drone sightings, or they couldn't comment immediately. But still, KRDO 13 Investigates has had several viewers share with us video of what they claim to be mysterious drones flying in the night sky.
Look, one of them drones here in Colorado.
This video was sent in from a Pueblo man just last week who claims this is a drone, and this was a UAP from earlier this fall.
I was kind of excited, to be honest. I wasn't like afraid of it by any means. I was like, ooh, this is exciting. Like, they're not just in New Jersey. They seem to be, in other states.
Here's another sent in by a couple driving back to Pueblo. They say this flying object, sporting festive Christmas-colored lights, was found near Fountain on I-25 in the same spot both on Friday and Sunday night.
There's that little bit down inside of me that's real excited and hopes it's aliens.
But this isn't part of a bigger trend. The El Paso County Sheriff's Office says they've seen zero credible reports in the last few months. Colorado Springs police also say they have no reports, and Pueblo Police Department is still looking through their records. Now, even all the way down in Alamosa, which historically is a hotbed for aerial activity, police say they haven't had any sightings or reports recently. But what happens if you do look up into the night sky and see a drone? Well, if you suspect it's being used for criminal activity or threatening your safety, then you're encouraged to call local law enforcement. Now, any sightings of drones or other aircraft that may not be following federal guidelines should be reported to the FAA. Now, the Colorado Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Management tells us there are several free apps that you can use to identify objects flying in the sky above you. Reporting live in Colorado Springs, Michael Lagerwell, KRDO 13 Investigates.
So yeah, we got that going on, and then I'm gonna play this too real quick, and just feel free to hop in whenever you want, Tim, if you feel compelled. New FAA restrictions in New Jersey. So yeah, despite all the hysteria talk, they are still adding new FAA restrictions. This is like, I think, a day or two after Christmas as well.
The FAA has expanded temporary drone flight restrictions in New Jersey. Drones are now banned from flying in parts of 9 more towns. That's in addition to dozens of towns and municipalities where the FAA issued restrictions earlier this month. Unexplained drone sightings have alarmed residents and local law enforcement since last month. It's unclear why the new restrictions were put in place, where and when they were.
Just a few days ago.
We have this next. This is that one mayor who went rogue on the last episode, and he basically said like the FBI was like supplying fake or faulty machinery that wouldn't pick up the drones in question, and it almost seemed like they were designing the whole operation to fail and they wanted the hysteria. Here's what he had to say on December 28th.
It was Christmas Eve. So I just happened to have my dryer shit the bed. And we had to go out and get a new one. So I took 2 of my boys and we went to a couple of places, Lowe's and Home Depot. And we got one. We got it loaded up, and we're at Home Depot, and we are actually looking out the parking lot, and I saw what looked like to be a drone. And I looked down at my phone, and I looked up again, and I saw it again. This is a minute or 2 later. So I asked my one son, I'm like, do you see that? He's like, oh, there's another one coming. In just a few minutes, 4 or 5 minutes, we saw 7 drones. They came this way. They followed the ridge line over Cedar Crest, which is an assisted living facility. and then they went towards New York City. And then when we got back to the house 15, 20 minutes later, drones were coming over the house at a very specific pattern. We opened up our flight app, we opened up our drone app. There was nothing there. There was nothing there at all. All three of us got our phones and our cameras out, and not one of us was able to take a good picture. And as you can see, we also have our telescope. And
yeah, more of this divide that we're seeing between like the local New Jersey politicians and the federal government response. Tim, do you have any thoughts on this kind of divide we're seeing and like the double messaging we're getting?
Well, it seems like some of them have changed tack too, right? That there's been a little bit of backpedaling with some of these people too. Am I missing that? Or it doesn't
Oh,
seem
there
like
was some of that. Actually, maybe I should pull that too. Yeah, I'll add that to the playlist and we'll get it going next. There was one sheriff who like it almost seems like he got the talk or something because he changed his tune. But yeah, keep riffing and I'm gonna add that to next.
Yeah, it's I mean I overall I think it's sort of interesting that what they want to try to do is downplay it as much as they can, and they can't have it at least dominate the news cycle for as long as it is happening. But it does seem to be at least popping up in other areas, and you've been doing a good job of at least looking at historical references or other places where they're happening at. And out of all of this, there was a person I was sharing with you as well, as Michael Tracy, who's just a journalist, and he was in the New York area, and he went to Picatinny Arsenal. And this guy is not necessarily a conspiratorial guy. He kind of speaks out a lot against like the RFK and that history of stuff. But he saw an object over Picatinny Arsenal that he's like, I can't explain that. And he's like, and I don't know if that's a drone or what, but he said it doesn't look like a drone. It hovered there. It was just a hovering light. So I think there's something with this, that the news media, when they're showing these, they're showing them specifically as things that could be, people could look at them as planes and follow that narrative of just sort of like this hysteria McWest sort of line. But there is a number of people out there that are reporting things that are definitely not necessarily planes, or they're not definitely, drones that are that they're viewing. And it seems like drones is just starting to become this new word for UAP, which is the new word for UFO in that history too. So it's conflicting for me, because again, I think it's the media just trying to keep keep something in line there.
Good analysis. The messaging is all over the place. Here's what I was talking about, and I did cover this on the last stream, but I did make a little edit of it so it's a little more concise. But this is one of the people, this mayor from Monmouth County. His tone totally changed, and who knows why, but we'll just watch this real quick.
Invite the National Security Advisor to come to New Jersey, visit us, and listen.
He's talking about the National Security Advisor Mayorkas when he said everything's normal, nothing's different, it's all hysteria. So that's what he's referring to right there.
Listen to some law enforcement and his own naval personnel at Naval Weapons Station Earl here in my county, and speak with them, because these are trained eye professionals. We get that some people may be calling in manned aircraft, but at the same token, you can't have members of the state police, county and local law enforcement, trained personnel from the Picatinny Arsenal and Naval Weapons Station Earl, two military installations here in New Jersey, calling it what it is, right? The highly sophisticated, very large objects that avoid detection, have their lights turned on and off, move at rapid speeds. That is what it is on the ground here.
Monmouth County Sheriff Sean Golden.
Now here he is in the CBS Columbia Broadcasting station. They did a piece called "How Drone Hysteria Has Taken Over America." So they either edited him super hard or he like totally changed his tune. Watch this.
Past week,
the majority of these sightings probably some type of commercial or recreational aircraft, manned aircraft.
In other words, no imminent threat. As a joint statement from the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Defense, the FAA, and
you can't have members of the state police, county and local law enforcement, trained personnel from the Picatinny Arsenal and Naval Weapons Station Earl, two military installations here in New Jersey, calling it what it is.
Probably some type of commercial or recreational aircraft, manned aircraft.
Not to be like super schizo conspiracy brain, but I am. Don't his eyes look different to you? Like, I don't know. Look at his eyes.
Right? The highly sophisticated, very large objects that avoid detection, have their lights turned on and off, move at rapid speeds. That is what it is on the ground here.
Probably some type of commercial or recreational aircraft, manned aircraft.
In other words, no
He forgot
imminent
to
threat,
blink.
as a joint statement from the Department of Home.
So yeah, MSM going all in on the hysteria thing. But you do got to remember, we have Donald Trump who's about to be inaugurated, and his statements are very much different than what MSM is saying, right? He's not saying it's hysteria. He's saying the government knows what's going on, and they should be honest with the American people about it. So very strange. I feel bad for that guy. I hope he didn't get like threatened or something. He got a weird look in his eye. Oh, next, I know you're gonna love this. And actually, I think we might have to hit this. We're back, baby. We're gonna meme it up. I missed y'all. For this next story, although it doesn't necessarily include him, it's about him. Let's hit it.
Drone sightings have been reported above critical infrastructure. He added that their presence appears nefarious in nature.
I don't know who could have possibly done this.
And it gets even worse. Some of the FBI agents that have been assigned to look into this have reported drones flying over their home.
It's kind of unsettling. They're not up for 15 minutes, they're up for hours. Some are very big.
So yeah, this happened on the in between.
I love that. I love
right?
that so much.
It's so good. This happened on the in between Christmas and New Year's period. Let's just watch it.
For sure, and I know you're friends with Lue.
And for people who might not know, this is Congressman Tim Burchett. Around these parts, we all know him. We love him. Big UAP activist, UFO activist in Congress. But here we go.
Elizondo, who recently said in an interview, if President Trump would put him in a position to take care of these drones, he could have them taken care of and figured out what the unknown ones are within 30 days. Could you see President Trump putting a guy like Elizondo in a position where he would be dealing with the UAP type events going on in the U.S.?
100%. I believe that Trump will get to the bottom of it. I mean, he said he'd shoot them down, and you ought not doubt him when he says those things. We're going to find out who's putting them up there and what they are pretty quick, one way or the other, with Trump's in the White House. That's why I suspect you won't see as many after Trump gets in shortly thereafter, because he will do that. And you've also got a military. You got to realize their morale is so low during this type of thing that you wouldn't have seen this happen during a Reagan or even a George W. Bush. I would think this type of stuff, they would have called on the military to take them out, because it creates a lot of insecurity and uncertainty, and that's some things they don't like. And but I think our current administration, honestly, is just so out of touch with what's going on that they are, and they just checked out. The president's not with it. He hasn't been with it for years. And the national media is anxious for Trump to get in there so they can be critical of it.
So yeah, we saw Lue doing this, and we covered this on previous streams. He went on Don Jr.'s podcast, and it seems like he's really trying to set up this UAP Czar thing, and they kind of alluded to it here. We have some Lue crew in the chat, and we love the Lue crew around here. I might not love Lue, but we support Lue crew. I made this meme for y'all. Let's see. So yeah, that's for all the Lue crew out there. Shouts out them. I mean, I don't think he should be UAP Czar, but if you want Lue to be UAP Czar, it's looking like that might be happening.
I don't know. I wish it was Jeremy Kenyon Lockery Corbell. That's who I'm voting for.
Dude, yeah, I would probably want Greenwald, but do we even need a UAP Czar? But yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts on Lue Elizondo going from torture czar to UAP Czar?
The guy should stay away from anything involved with the government. I ended up voting for Greenwald on that one too, because he's probably the most rational minded when it comes to all that stuff. But I think Lue should just stay away. Just retire and go off in the distance and join your History Channel sensational TV shows. Just do that stuff.
And then if we're gonna hear from Lue, we do have to hear from another, the man, the myth, the legend, who has actually made some comments that are pretty relevant to this whole Cybertruck manifesto. Let's real quick hit the meme.
If you face that, you're not going to be afraid of death. And so I have sort of
I call it the spirit warrior mindset, where I'm just not afraid of if I get threatened, or I've been threatened plenty.
All right. So Stephen Greer obviously been pretty vocal during this whole thing. Here's what he had to say. I think yesterday or the day before, he's saying it's China. They're all Chinese drones, and this kind of ties into what the Cybertruck Manifesto guy said. So we'll watch this real quick. Shouts out Lil Pop Tart for this clip.
Palm Beach, Florida, and the last 3 nights in a row, I've seen these 3 things flying overhead. What in the world are they? What are these quote unquote drones?
Well, there are whole several phenomena happening all at once. A lot of the drones are actually, people are starting to look up and seeing things that were always there. All right, that's one thing. So it's an observational artifact, we'd say, or a skew. But the ones that really are the drones, that there are these flurries of them, those have been released in anticipation of a team of people that I've been working with for about 20 months, coming forward from 6 different black sites in the United States that deal with UFOs and extraterrestrial craft, or NHI, non-human intelligence. And once it was decided they were going to come forward between now and the inauguration of the new president, then this whole drone event started. Now, why? Because it's causing a lot of consternation and confusion. It's also causing a lot of mixed signals and sort of a diversion, so that when they begin to come forward with their evidence and information, people are going to say, well, maybe it was just all drones. Now, what are the drones doing?
Yes.
I just had here with me they left an hour ago, a contractor who has been tasked with looking into this. And he's quite convinced some are ours. They're all man-made. None of them are alien or anything like that. But quite a few of them appear to be originating from China or Chinese assets for reasons that appear to be surveillance. And that is at least the conclusion these experts have reached. Now, he also is aware, because he's embedded with the organization and people coming forward.
That was so huge. Can you repeat that statement again and then continue?
What part of the statement from
Chinese?
When we went?
LOL.
Oh yeah, that they know that quite a few of them are from the Chinese, but the Chinese activity is probably being coordinated with a transnational criminal organization that's been responsible for keeping all the UFO secrecy. So in other words, here's the mistake everyone makes here in Washington, where I am right now, and everyone listening. We all look at a map of the world and we see a boundary between Canada and the United States, or China and Russia. The organization that's working at the level that we're talking, they don't care about that. And they have assets that are derived from many, many countries. It's like a United Nations of illegal covert programs.
Yeah.
Now that goes back, we know, to the 1960s. And I can tell you a story about that in a little while. It's in our disclosure files at our archive. But as soon as this group decided they were going to set a date to come forward, and remember, I've been at two of the chief black sites out in the Western Desert in a helicopter with the main guy who's coming forward and defecting. He's been a special forces operator there since 1995 in those programs. And as soon as they decided to come forward, set the date, and this was the big surprise about a month ago that I learned, they're going to unmask themselves. So in other words, they're not going to just anonymously say, here's what we've seen. These are at the highest level of aerospace contracting and special forces, who are going to come out, rank, their name, rank, serial number, nothing held back in terms of their identity. So that's a game changer, because this is the most significant, earth-shattering disclosure in human history, number one, when I tell you what they've been doing there.
Yeah.
And then number two, in anticipation of that, these corrupt enterprises are trying to gaslight Congress and the president and the public and the media, and create also the specter. This is the other part of this, of something frightening in the skies coming. See, this has been the plan since 1953 at least, that Werner von Braun warned us about. The man who invented the rocket for Adolf Hitler, on his deathbed, told a member of my team, Carol Rosin, that the plan was to eventually launch an alien threat or something from the skies that they could unite the world around some sort of authoritarian or militaristic totalitarian superstate. That is what they're doing. We're at the point, we're at the inflection point where that's all.
All right, so I think that's kind of the gist of that, right? He's saying China. He's even going so far as to say that this whole drone thing is because of his upcoming whistleblowers that he's been really hyping. Do you have any thoughts on any of this stuff? Because, you know, the other thing is too, people are saying that allegedly maybe the Cybertruck bomber might have been a Greer whistleblower. I have no idea. It's all weird.
Yeah, that was my initial thought too when that space was going on with Tupa and you guys earlier, was whether or not maybe that guy had some connection to Greer. I don't know if he's commented about this yet or anything. I know Pop-Tart said he was going to be on, was it News Nation or Newsmax or something like that later on tonight too, so maybe he's gave more information. But
that's a great point. I need to check Pop-Tart's feed right now because he probably definitely clipped that. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. You know it. I think, I don't know, it's hard with me to take Greer sometimes. Like, to me, I wonder how much he gets psyoped and how he's able to digest all that stuff and who he takes credible and whatnot too. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting to get another perspective, but I have a hard time thinking this is China.
Yeah, and if it is, I mean, either way, if it's China, it's super sus, and that's kind of what the whistleblower is saying. Okay, so I think that's Greer. Where do you want to go? Real quick, actually, I want to cut over to here because this is a little personal news. I don't know if you guys have noticed my backup channel has stopped posting because I have 3 copyright strikes, and one of them is really sketch. Actually, 2 of them are pretty sketch. One of them's from Linda Moulton Howe, so hopefully I could get somebody who I know who can tell her to like get that removed. Because if not, I think both my channels are going to get deleted forever. But anyway, so here's the timeline of events for this thing. I did an interview with this guy who posted an orb UFO video near Picatinny Arsenal in the rain. The interview was great. It's still up on X. You guys can go find it there. And then it got this random copyright strike from this company called Viral Hog on the video. And then when I went to go find the guy, I couldn't find any of his accounts and stuff. But our interview seemed nice. He seemed like a nice guy. Seemed like a genuine guy. A little like since I posted this like an hour ago, I have been able to contact him again. He kind of wants to lay low. You know, I'll just say this. If you guys remember, we covered that the person who claimed to be visited by the FBI also posted an orb video online, and they claimed that their video was removed from all social media the night before the FBI visited. Food for thought. But I did contact TTAL, and he said he has no connection to or has any idea what this Viral Hog company is. And so this Viral Hog company not only removed it from my channel, but they also gave me a copyright strike. So in YouTube land, there's all these different things that people could do. You could either like split the monetization if it's monetized, ask them to just remove it and not give them a strike, or you could just go like full balls to the wall and like remove it and give the person a strike, which is like movement towards like channels being terminated, right? So kind of pretty extensive. And mind you, I found the video, interviewed the guy within like a day of him doing it. So even if they did get the rights, like I had posted it before, so I'm definitely going to be like challenging it and whatnot and saying like this kind of BS, I'm getting a strike for it. But again, the person who posted it said they have no idea what the hell that company is and they never interacted with them. So yeah, hopefully maybe we'll be able to hear more from this person. Again, they're super spooked out about everything. But yeah, I don't know, Tim, any thoughts on that? Isn't this weird? Like this Viral Hog company?
Yeah, super weird. I saw you kind of commented on it the other day, and then hearing you go into it a little bit more here is, yeah, a whole different world to me. Are these monetized for you on here too? So I'm guessing is why they copywrote it.
Yeah, but also you can copyright strike stuff if it's not monetized. And that one did just get monetized like a day before this had happened. But
Did
yeah,
it tell you specifically what it is that they're striking? Like what part?
Oh,
of
the orb video itself, the orb video that he filmed in his backyard, they are claiming ownership of. And
wow,
and that's the
weird.
same. Yeah, and people were hitting me up when I posted the other thing, and they were like, I suspect it's this video because I had posted it to Reddit and I got hit with a strike too. So basically everywhere but X, this company is silencing this video, which is very sus.
Wow, that's bizarre. And it's like not even, I mean, how do you copyright that? Like it's like such a sort of mundane sort of, you know, there's no you know, advertise like logos or anything like that. So that's interesting, huh? And then that
Yes.
person's not responding to you at all.
No, no. Since I posted this, I was able to find them. I was able to put 2 and 2 together, you know, and reach out to them and find them on a different way. But yeah, they said that they don't know. They're sorry that this is happening to me. They don't know what's up with that company. They have nothing to do with it. They're still kind of spooked out. I'll reiterate. I just want to remind everyone: the person who claimed they got visited by the FBI and their orb video was deleted everywhere the night before also filmed an orb video in this same area. Yeah. But I'm going to talk to them more. They're freaked out, but yeah. So that's kind of the update on that front and why there hasn't been any updates on the other channel, which is kind of a bummer because it's been a great chronology of all of this this New Jersey drone stuff. There's so much stuff, right, that gets lost in the weeds. That feed was a really great feed to like go through and just kind of see the stuff as it was happening in real time. And it's a bummer if this freaking viral hog company is going to get that all deleted. Yeah. Okay, I guess back to the playlist here. So this is, I think, the last thing we have before we get into the two, because I'm going to treat them. We're going to cover both the New Orleans terrorist attack and the Las Vegas one because they are kind of linked via Fort Bragg and whatnot. But this was last night before the manifesto. This is Congressman William Timmons from South Carolina. Listen to what he had to say about the drone situation, and this is coming to us via attacl. Yeah, this coming to us via attacl, and just listen to what he had to say about the whole drone situation.
So it's actually, this is the thing. I do think that the government is trying to assess whether it's China or non-human. I think that's really the underlying question. Because if it's China, it's bad because they have technology that we don't understand, and they have advancements that we don't have, which is not good. If it's non-human, then well, we don't know why they're here. So you know, both of those deserve additional resources to figure out the answer to.
And that's like the way you're framing it is kind of simple, not simplistic, but simple. Do you think that's an easy case to make to the incoming Trump administration? Like, hey.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't take.
I'm just going to play that back again because we have two things here with the China thing, which has become really big with the Cybertruck thing, but it also says non-human, right? That's huge, 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 huge.
Attacl didn't push him on that either. Like, what did he mean by non-human?
Right, I know, but attacl's killing it. He's in the hallway. But yeah.
This is the thing. I do think that the government is trying to assess whether it's China or non-human. I think that's really the underlying question. Because if it's China, it's bad because they have technology that we don't understand, and they have advancements that we don't have, which is not good. If it's non-human, then well, we don't know why they're here. So you know, both of those.
What the hell?
Isn't that crazy to hear like non-human just in the mix from a sitting like we're so spoiled as UFO nerds today at this point in time, like this is insanity to me. Yeah,
that's a huge statement to make. And then it's like, you know, if it's non-human, that's still also like, okay, you know, that trumps our whole situation too as well, instead of just saying like, you know, well, why are they here? And I mean, for him to even say that, it's like he's obviously saying alien, right? I mean, that's, oh my god, that blows my mind.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. He says something else here at the end that I already kind of highlight up at the top here, but I want to hear that quote too.
Deserve additional resources to figure out the answer to.
And that's like the way you're framing it is kind of simple, not simplistic, but simple. Do you think that's an easy case to make to the incoming Trump administration? Like, hey.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't take. It doesn't take. This is not an Elon Musk task. This is a task that can be assigned to a lot of people. But you know, this is the thing: the patterns in sightings can easily be predicted, and I actually think that there's a correlation between military training, military activities in the U.S. and these sightings. So it would not be difficult to figure out if it's China, because if it is indeed China, they're using their technology to assess our military capacity, and we can create the systems through which they would then respond, and we'll be like, okay, it's China.
Yeah.
Or maybe they don't take the bait, and it's not China, or it might not be China.
Have you entertained the idea of military contractors? Do you feel like that part of it?
I mean, that's definitely a variable, because we spend a lot of money to allow the private sector to develop technologies because we don't have the expertise. So absolutely. But again, this is some next level. I mean, this isn't like 10 years ahead of where we are. This is like 50 or 100 years ahead of where we are. And, you know, we've all seen.
What do you think about that one?
That means that they know way more than that they're telling the public here about what these are, right? I mean, for him to say specifically what the technologies are, they're not devolving the whole aspect of what they know. Like, I would still love to know what those cops in the helicopter had saw and why they had to depart from it because they felt unsafe. Like, I would love to know if they really thought if that was like a drone, like a little some quadcopter or something.
The people I want to interview most, if I'm able to make it out there and maybe set up, would be the helicopter pilots of Morris County and the freaking the Coast Guard people on that ship, especially the one that already kind of backed pushed back because the White House called them all crazy. Basically, it said that they misidentified regular plane lights. And mind you, that whole water thing, it was two reports. There was the police reported the 50, then the Coast Guard went out and they reported the 13. So that's why there's that 13 to 50 number that people are like, why is it so strange? But again, so that same batch of drones was not just witnessed from the Coast Guard, but also from police on shore that called it in. So
okay, that makes more sense now too, because I think I had questioned that as well, as like why was it such like a varying number, but that makes a lot more sense. I mean, for them to be coming off the water there too, and then I can't remember who else it was, they were saying that they were able to track them going off like even 50 miles out. They could spot them and going even that far out too. I mean, those are the ones I would like to know, because the general public, it's great getting all that information and seeing all that kind of stuff with them, but these are people too that are getting correlated data from at least the Coast Guard, from they have helicopters too that they use to rescue people out in the water if there's any issues there. So they have correlation with some, FAA tower and getting that information. And then those guys are seeing it. Like, obviously that's something that they're not familiar with, right? And for them to say it's following them or it's like coming out to them, I would love to have them come forward and specifically say what happened that night.
Yeah, agreed. And this Willing Timmons guy, I'm trying to find what committees he's on, but I know like all of them got this one briefing from the FBI. It was like every congressman got it. He also was in the military and is a pilot too. So just to put some perspective on what he's saying here. And real quick too, let's shout out the super chat. Sorry, I missed this. Will Brown says RPK memes forever. Hell yeah, thank you, Will. I'm glad you guys appreciate the memes here. And then Beats and Meat says, Andrew Bustamante said it best. The purpose of government and government officials is to propagate the continued existence and dominance of the U.S. government, not the American people. Yeah, kind of brutal, but yeah. Wow. Okay, we'll finish this out, and then we're going to get into the two terrorist attacks in New Orleans and Las Vegas and the implications and the manifesto and all that.
6 years ago, I remember seeing what the world then saw in 60 Minutes, like a year or two later.
Yeah.
And look, I got my private pilot's license. I understand physics.
Yeah.
I understand propulsion. I'm not Elon Musk again, but I have a pretty good grasp of that.
Yeah.
We have nothing that can do what I've seen.
Yeah.
So if you have no existing technology, either the Chinese are kicking their ass or it's something else.
Yeah.
Either way, we need to know, because if the answer is brought to us, it might be too late.
Yeah.
Wow, crazy. Again, I highlighted up here the parts that really stuck out to me, and I think Tim too. The government is trying to assess if it's China or non-human, and then later Rep. William Timmons says this is like 50 or 100 years ahead of where we are, and he even just right here too, he said something else where he's like, I fly like we don't have anything like this.
So he's on a subcommittee on financial institutions and monetary policy, digital assets, financial technology and inclusion, and then House Committee on Oversight and Accountability, so Subcommittee for Cybersecurity, Information Technology, and Government Innovation.
So I'm pretty sure those are the ones who held the UAP hearing on November 13th with Lue Elizondo, that exact subcommittee. Was he there? We may have to go back and look. He might have been
I
there.
don't think he was.
Yeah, I don't remember this guy.
And then he's also on the Subcommittee of Government Operations and Federal Workforce.
Wow. Yeah. Interesting, man. We're going to continue here. Now we're going to get into, first we're going to do the New Orleans one. Got a little news report on it. Let's see.
Extremely tragic news. At least 15 people were killed and dozens were wounded after a truck deliberately rammed into people celebrating the New Year in the U.S. city of New Orleans. The FBI has said it was investigating the attack as a possible act of terrorism. The FBI has identified the attacker as Shamsud Din-Jabbar, a 42-year-old U.S. citizen from Texas and a U.S. Army veteran. President Joe Biden said that he was informed by the FBI that the suspect, Jabbar, posted videos indicating that he was inspired by ISIS, and this happened hours before the incident.
The FBI is leading the investigation to determine what happened, why it happened, whether there was any continuing threat to public safety.
The attack took place after 3 a.m. local time near the intersection of Canal and Bourbon Streets, a historic tourist destination known for its music and bars where crowds were celebrating the New Year. The suspect drove a white Ford F-150 electric pickup into a group of pedestrians. He then exited the vehicle and was killed in an exchange of gunfire with police, 2 of whom were wounded. Some reports said that the pickup truck was flying a black flag of the Islamic State group. Others reports suggest that an ISIS flag was located inside the vehicle. The FBI added that 2 homemade bombs were found and neutralized. The FBI said it believes the suspect may have had accomplices.
We do not believe that Jabbar was solely responsible. We are aggressively running down every lead, including those of his known associates.
Police are sweeping parts of the city looking for possible explosive devices and converged on neighborhoods in search of clues. Meanwhile, officials have postponed the Sugar Bowl.
Okay, so we kind of stopped there. I think they're going to that thing next. But shouts out New Orleans. Have you ever been there, bro? I love that city. I had a friend that lived out there. I've been out there a few times. That city's like, it's magical. It's just so old, you know, and it was like French and Spanish and all this other stuff. Feels a lot different than other cities.
I've always wanted to go there. I did a report on it when I was like in middle school, and I loved just that culture of it too. Like you're saying, that like Creole mix of everything down there. So
they also have this thing called the World War II Museum, and I think it's the biggest one in the whole nation. And they have like all these different old planes and artifacts and uniforms from like every theater and stuff. It's like a Disneyland for World War II. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, so yeah, that was that guy. Let's see what we got. We got next here was
we're here.
So this was weird, right? And I'm sure you thought this was weird. The New York Post immediately had this woman with like yoga pants on in this guy's house, but like, let's just watch it. It's so weird.
Inside the New Orleans terrorist home, you can see that it's been clearly destroyed, the door at least, from the FBI raid yesterday. But if we walk through the home, we see some signs of what he was up to. He had this work area here, lots of different chemicals splayed around, and different electronics. This is, again, a work setup. Left receipts, just very unkempt in here. If we go over here, actually, you can see the Department of Justice documents here, the search warrant, and the property that they recorded here, which seems to be a lot of chemicals. Again, just left in disarray. There's a bedroom back here, and his, what appears to be his collection of religious materials, his Qurans, an open Quran with a passage there, as well as even the Bible here, but mostly books on Islam, and his prayer rug just to the left of me here. And if we go back, there's another bedroom here. You can see he left all these belongings, contact lenses, personal belongings, his bathroom. This seems to be some sort of workspace, again, with other chemicals here. The light's still on, some kind of station set up here. We're not really sure what that was for, in, you know, what we can assume was also a bedroom. You can see clothes left here, and just a.
So yeah, really weird. Everyone in the chat is as confused as us. We talked to Fringe, friend of the show. She was on our 2027 End of the World Alien Invasion stream, which everyone should go rewatch. Just saying, it's pretty interesting, especially given everything going on here. But she was saying that, like, she was a law enforcement officer for, like, I don't know, 15, 20 years. That, like, she's never seen anything like this. Like, typically, especially cases like this, sometimes the premises will be, like, a secure location for, like, months. You know what I mean? Not like the next
Yeah.
day, this lady is here. What are your thoughts on this, Tim?
Well, so I was trying to remember specifically. There was another kind of incident of this happened. I was trying to think it was
San Bernardino.
I wanted to. Yeah, was it there where they like another reporter had like entered like the house of someone? And I was trying to remember if it was like the Boston bombing kind of stuff or where it was, but there was another incident too where like the reporters were able to get in and had gone through the house and like documented a bunch of stuff too. And I was trying to remember what incidents that was too.
Definitely the San Bernardino one. I'm trying to see if I could find a video of it. It's kind of hard to find one right now, but definitely in San Bernardino. That's like what, few years ago now, probably not even 5.
Yeah, I think that was it. Because don't you remember that too? It was like a kind of a big flag that like this reporter was able to like enter in, and there was a lot of outrage about it too because she was like tampering with the crime scene, essentially. And that's why I think it's like weird that they're allowing her to even just go in there, and for them just to have documents still laid out, like neatly laid out. That's bizarre.
Oh shit, this is already a decade ago. Oh, time flies. Here we go. Let's watch this.
Into this room and saw how it was before everyone started touching it. And you can see that police did go through and look at many things. I don't want to show you these IDs over here just because I don't want to show you those addresses that are on there, but I do believe that they belong to the mother of Farouk based on the ages that are there. But you can see that there are some prayer books. There are also some pictures.
This one was crazier because there's like the whole gang of media was there just like having a party.
Not before is this right here. If you look up here, you can see where they smashed up into the ceiling.
So yeah, damn, we're old, bro. That was 9 years ago. I thought it was like 4 years ago. Oh man,
good job remembering that. I was trying to remember where else that was too. I was like, this has definitely happened before. I can't, yeah.
So yeah, really weird. Definitely a lot of people will say if it's real or not. There a lot of Islam stuff kind of in here. Real quick, we got a super chat from Moon Lake G's Red. You have been speaking for 40 plus minutes. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Kevin, friend of the show, great spaces guy. Yeah, so I got this. What do I got next? I got one video of the person because this person was in the military, right? At first, everyone's like, "Who the hell is this guy?" And that's going to connect to our Cybertruck guy. Let's see.
A blast
Oh, wait,
within seconds.
We're here.
Here we go.
Texas, and now live in Houston. And I've been here all my life, with the exception of traveling for the military, where I spent 10 years as a human resources specialist and IT specialist, where I learned the meaning of great service and what it means to be responsive and take everything seriously, dotting I's and crossing T's to make sure that things go off without a hitch. So I've taken those skills and applied them.
So yeah, seems like a normal guy, right? He was in the military. I don't know. It just screams MK Ultra or some kind of weird stuff. And then we're about to cover too that him and Homeboy were apparently like Fort Bragg together or something like that. The other guy.
They also reported that he had uploaded some videos the same night he had done the attack too. Have you seen any of those?
No, I have not. Let me do a quick search. Riff on that though. You remember about it?
Yeah, I had saw last night on the news reporting that they were talking about that same night that he had uploaded sort of his, essentially not manifesto, but his reason why he's going to attack and what he was going to do. And then they had caught him even earlier in the day. He was like planting a bunch of coolers around Bourbon Street that had bombs in them with like nails and stuff too. I don't know if you had heard that as well. But those
see this, yeah.
So they had caught him doing that. Where that one photo with him right there, he looks quite different than that one video that we were just seeing too. So that's why I was curious to see if those videos that he uploaded, if anyone had those, or we could see them, just to see how much of a decline maybe he was in as well.
Yeah, I can't. One thing I did hear in a spacer before this, I was still preparing all this media and stuff, was apparently there's some kind of material he was found with that was kind of like anomalous, not anomalous, but like a very either weird or foreign state chemical or something like that. You hear anything about that?
I don't think so. I'm not 100% sure.
Now I was like breaking right before this stream started, so I haven't really been able to look into it. I'm sure this is all going to continue. And like I said, these guys are both out of like Fort Bragg or something like that. I'm sure we're going to hear more. Who knows? Maybe this guy's going to release a manifesto that has something to do with UAP or something like that, like the other guy. Yeah, okay, we'll continue along then here to the last thing. There's Homegirl again. Shouts out her. Oh wait, oops, sorry, I don't have the right thing open. Here we go. And then, all right, so here we go. Now we're on to the Tesla Cybertruck. These both happened on January 1st, so 2 days ago. We'll just watch this news report about it real quick.
10 seconds turned this Tesla Cybertruck into a ball of flames. Parked outside the Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas, it is now a charred carcass of a vehicle. Investigators are looking into whether the explosion was an act of organized terrorism. Elon Musk, Tesla CEO and a strong supporter of President-elect Donald Trump, confirmed online that explosives and fireworks were found in the bed of the truck and that the vehicle's data seemed normal prior to the blast. The timing of the incident is also of concern for investigators, as it occurred just hours after a car rammed into revelers in New Orleans. President Biden said an investigation is ongoing, but that no link had been found between the two events.
And the intelligence community are investigating this as well, including whether there's any possible connection with the attack in New Orleans. Thus far, there's nothing to report on that score at this time.
The investigation did find that both vehicles were rented on the same car-sharing site, Turo. In a statement, Turo said it was working with law enforcement. A troubling coincidence or linked events? Las Vegas's sheriff also confirmed that they do not believe the two attacks were the work of a major terrorist organization.
Yeah, so the question is there any links to ISIS? And I will tell you that we don't have any indication of that here in Las Vegas, no overt ISIS flag as was seen in New Orleans. But again, we are investigating every aspect of this. And if that comes to light, we'll certainly update you.
With the area under tight security, the FBI said the driver of the rented Tesla died in the blast, which also injured over half a dozen others.
It's a reality show that.
So yeah, that happened, and then we learned more about this guy. He was on a TV show. Yeah, go for it.
So that one sheriff too, that was for the Las Vegas one.
A blast.
There's another clip of him where he's talking about that explosion, and I was curious if he got a talk from like the Tesla company or like from their lawyers, because he went on this whole riff where he was talking about, because of how strong and the way that the Cybertruck is built, is why there wasn't as much damage as there would have been if it was like any other car. It was like the most weird thing for him to like kind of go on this whole spiel about, how wonderful the Cybertruck was. And it just, I mean, it's just a side point, but I thought it was like so strange the way he was like talking about it, where I felt like Tesla lawyers had told him like, do not, dismiss our vehicle or, downplay it or anything.
Yeah, that's funny. Amidst all this BS, there's like corporate BS as well. It's pretty funny. That's some brand. Let's see. So Homeboy was in.
It's a reality.
So we have here real quick on the right, we got a man who died in Tesla Cybertruck explosion, was an active duty U.S. Army soldier stationed at Fort Bragg, or spent time at Fort Bragg. Same with the person in New Orleans. So here we have from New York Times, Shamsud Din-Jabbar spent 3 years in the military, moving between states, ending up in Fort Bragg. Same with the second Trump assassin attempt guy, routinely was seen visiting Fort Bragg. So Fort Bragg has already been known to be like kind of sketch, but the fact that both of these guys do a terrorist attack on the same day and come out of Fort Bragg, and I'll just play a little bit of this clip real quick too. He appeared on some like military show. Right now we're talking about Livelsberger, the Las Vegas bomber. Let's see.
Reality show that pits teams of elite soldiers from around the world against each other.
Matt and Tim from the U.S. Army Special Forces, better known as the Green Berets.
Mathew Livelsberger and his partner Tim Kelly, both Green Berets, appeared on the Ultimate Soldier Challenge 12 years ago on the History Channel. They not only won, it wasn't even close.
For television, they always try to make it a little bit more competitive, but we swept the whole entire show.
When he appeared on the show, Livelsberger used a shortened version of his name, Matt Berg. So it took Tim Kelly a while to put 2 and 2 together.
And then I saw a Matt Berg with an older photo of him, and I was like, oh no, dude, I know that guy. And then it just like tore my heart out because he was a really great Green Beret.
And what was he like?
He was charming. He was talented. He was personable. He was kind. He was all the things that you would expect from a Green Beret.
At one point during the show, Livelsberger lost his cool in the 90-plus degree heat.
I'm about to throw up, man. I got heat exhaustion, man. I need to take this off right now.
Tim Kelly says he hadn't heard from Livelsberger for a few years.
It just categorically does not make sense. From everything that I have heard, he was universally valued by his team, by his peers. I don't understand. It doesn't make sense. And it is just horrifically heartbreaking.
Another element we kind of brushed over was the whole fact that like he was in the car with a bullet wound, right? Do you know the details of that?
I don't know like the full extent of it because I don't know how much of that they've necessarily.
Yeah, and I don't think we even know, right? It's on the table that he might have been shot somewhere else, and like the thing might have self-drove to the location, right? Like that's I don't think it's like confirmed one way or the other, but it's like which is so crazy. Like the sign of our times, like not to be like weird about it, but it's like so futuristic, right? Of a thing that's even an option is like this dude was shot and then the thing auto drove to the location. Like what?
Yeah, they had that car. They documented it too. I think it was like 15 minutes before it arrived. I think he had originally gone to that valet there and then had drove off at a certain point, and then they have it on camera driving around Las Vegas there for like 15 minutes before it like came back to that valet at a certain point and then ended up detonating at that time too. And then another thing I saw online is someone had posted you know before that explosion you can see there's like a like concierge or bellhop or something like that that's like off to the side, and people said that he didn't even react even before then. So it's like if he had shot himself there too, it's like wouldn't he have heard a gunshot or at least noticed something or
that's a great point.
Aware. And also there I don't know if you've seen that one photo too where it's like from inside the hotel there in the lobby, that vehicle's on fire at that point. And the person who took that video, they were waiting in that lobby and they actually commented later saying like that's our luggage that was right there. So they were kind of standing in that doorway when it had originally exploded. So it seemed like there were people around there where you think that they would have heard some sort of gunshot or some sort of bullet go off or something like that too. But maybe the Cybertruck is so awesome that it just even deadens the sounds of bullets going off from the inside of it. #Tesla.
Maybe. And let's watch this real quick too, because this is so classic conspiracy happenings that apparently the Vegas police said they identified him because his passport was found in the truck. Let's watch this real quick. Let's see.
Inside of the Cybertruck that are useful to the investigation. And that first and foremost, would like to highlight a couple of things that the teams found inside of the Cybertruck that are useful to the investigation. And that first and foremost is a military identification. We also found a passport. We found a Desert Eagle 50 caliber semi-automatic pistol.
Why does the gun look like this, but the passport looks like this? I don't know. There's always dude, MH17 passports, Twin Towers passports.
Twin Towers, yeah. And who's that one skeptic guy? Michael
Michael Shermer, wasn't he saying like this is all sketch? Like the skeptics are breaking their minds right now, right?
Yeah, he even had said, I didn't read the comments, but I'm sure people had pointed out the 9/11 thing too. But yeah, he goes like, not to be continuously conspiratorial here too, but he was showing as well as the other thing that was in the car was his like ID specifically for his like his service ID that expires in like 2027.
And you know who had an identical one to that? Or not super identical, but Jeremy McGowan. KMF of all people made a meme of like, look at how similar they are. And I was like, oh shoot, those are like similar service IDs. Kind of weird.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. That's odd.
Of course, KMF's had McGowan like fat and stuff like that. But yeah, but let's play this.
A passport. We found a Desert Eagle 50 caliber semi-automatic pistol. And if you'll notice on a lot of these guns that were
that's the gun, right? They exploded all from the same place, but the passports are pristine. I mean, they're not pristine, but come on.
Going to talk about here, they're almost just burnt beyond recognition as well. There's a SLR model B30 semi-automatic firearm. Number of fireworks that were still in the vehicle that had to be removed. We found an iPhone and a smartwatch, and then several credit cards were also in the name of our subject. Our subject is 37-year-old Mathew Livelsberger. He's of Colorado Springs, Colorado, born July.
Definitely a spooky town because we're about to cover this thing. That's where Grush is. That's where a lot of UFO stuff is. Definitely in Colorado Springs.
Oh, dude, it's a huge NSA haven there too.
22nd of 1987. Now, as you'll see here on a picture of his driver's license, let's see.
This edit's
the
a little
question
weird.
really still remains for me, and I know that there's a lot of you folks in the media that are identifying this person as the person in our vehicle. As I mentioned to you already, his body is beyond recognition, and I do still not have confirmation 100% that that is the individual that was inside of our vehicle.
What do you think about that, bro? What?
Well, I think that was that the same day.
This is from yesterday, I believe.
Yesterday, okay. So I guess they're waiting on like what, DNA testing or something like that to totally confirm it. Is that the deal?
And we do have a super chat. Bold Game, it says 50. Desert Eagle is a meme gun. NFW, a Green Beret would own one. Okay. But yeah, the body's burnt beyond recognition. He doesn't even know if it's really him. We're just going off of the passports that were found there that weren't burnt beyond recognition, like the body. Very weird.
Yeah.
So as I'm calling it now, the subject or person of interest, I will not come back until I have the confirmation through DNA or medical records that this is indeed the subject inside of the vehicle. Now, further complicating this identification of this individual, we also discovered through the coroner's office, the individual had sustained a gunshot wound to the head prior to the detonation of the vehicle. One of the handguns was found.
So yeah, like what you said, like it almost seems like it had to have been he got shot off site somewhere else and then the thing drove there, right? Because you're saying the concierge didn't react, and somebody who was adjusting, someone in the chat made a great comment, like the videos, all the security cams cut, like you don't really see it pull up. There's always like a weird cut. Yeah, it's pretty weird. I guess we'll let it play out. There's about 40 more seconds on this.
At his feet inside of the vehicle. Obviously, in how we're trying to identify him, and I'm feeling comfortable to give you this information, is a tremendous amount of substantial evidence to include he rented the Turo vehicle. There are 2 tattoos, one of which was on the stomach and one of which is on the arm, that we can see bits and pieces of it as in comparison to what it is that we now know he had on his body. That has given us a lot of confidence that this is, in fact, the same person, as well as which the clearly obvious, which is the credit cards, the military identification, the passport.
Yeah, and the other guy said he seemed happy. He kind of, I saw some other reports from his other people, like, I don't know. A lot of people I think in his life were surprised by this, would be a good way of putting it.
I think he just had like a kid too and stuff. And I don't think he was like divorced. I think he was like still married and everything.
Popstar did say maybe he learned that the kid wasn't his, but I should have looked into that, but there's so much media to pull. Real quick, we'll do this too. There was this that kind of piqued my attention. There were a bunch of tweets that went out, which is also, or text with his, which is also weird. There's definitely like a weird, like the fact that Yoga Pants Girl was in that one house right away. These tweets are available right away, but to his ex, he put, okay, it's been wild, so much learning and fun. I rented a Tesla Cybertruck. It's the shit. I'm building drones in my new position. You would love it. This, obviously, I've been covering the drone beat. This hella piqued my interest last night. When these were released, I was like, huh, it's kind of interesting. And then today, kind of the Sean Ryan stuff kind of, if it's true, corroborated it more. And yeah, I see someone in there was saying, well, we should watch it. We definitely are watching it coming up here shortly.
So I'm curious how long he has been renting that car for.
Yeah, and also wasn't there something? And again, it could have coincidence, but I think him and the New Orleans guy were renting from like the same company or something like that.
Yeah, through Turo too. Have you ever done that company?
No, is that just like Uber for? Is it just like the trendy app version of renting a car?
Yeah, and then there's like another car company that not car company, but like program that does it too. The one thing I think is interesting is because the New Orleans guy, like they were everything I've read about him is like they were talking about how much financial debt he was in. He was going through a divorce and like he was like back on payments for like a house, like $25,000 late on like down payments and stuff. And he had been out of the military for a while. He was like, he did some like sort of financial consulting firm or something like that too. But the point that I'm trying to get here is that Toro, I don't think you like with like a typical rental agency, you put like a credit card down, like you have to have a credit card to like rent a car. But with Toro, that's not necessarily the case. I think you can just like use your debit card or something like that.
It's like easier to be sketched and like laundering of who actually did it and whatnot.
Yeah, I think so. And like, and then also you don't have to have, you know, a good credit score, I guess, to make sure you know you're not going to steal it or do whatever. But yeah, so I think that that's sort of like an interesting thing too. It's like a different way of getting a car.
All right. Well,
and both of them too. This is the other thing. Were both electric vehicles. Like the one in New Orleans was an electric Ford Lightning, and then that one was a Tesla truck too. So both of them were electric cars.
Wow, interesting. All right, we got 2 more videos for the night. First, we're going to play this. So we're going to cover the manifesto last, but first,
circulating online. We have.
I don't know what that was about. More copyright bullshit live in the thing. But here's the Las Vegas police saying that, yeah, basically that the manifesto we're about to cover did come from the Las Vegas Cybertruck bomber.
So in terms of the so-called manifesto that's circulating online, we have strong evidence to suggest that it was the subject that wrote it, but we haven't conclusively proven that yet. And that evidence relates to other evidence that we're finding that we're able to compare that lead us to believe it was in fact him who sent it.
All right, so now let's get into the manifesto that Sean Ryan released today. He was being super cagey about it all. He seemed kind of like nervous to post it. I do think actually, if you guys want to hop on Twitter, some lady came in who apparently knows this other guy, Sean Shoemaker or whatever, and asked me and Tupa to be in a space with him, hopefully maybe next week or something like that, if she's able to work it out. But let's watch this.
The email? Yep. So this email came in on December 31st at 10:42 a.m. That is Tuesday. He said, in case I do not make it to my decision point or on to the Mexico border, I am sending this now. Please do not release this until 1 January and keep my identity private until then. First off, I am not under duress or hostile influence or control. My first car was a 2006 black Ford Mustang V6 for verification. What we have been seeing with drones, he puts that in quotes, he says drones, is the operational use of gravitic propulsion systems powered aircraft by most recently China and the East Coast, but throughout history, the US. Only we in China have this capability. Our OPCEN, that's Operations Center, our OPCEN location for this activity is in the box below. China has been launching them from the Atlantic from submarines for years, but this activity recently has picked up. As of now, it is just a show of force, and they are using it similar to how they used the balloon for SIGINT and ISR, which are also part of the integrated comms system. There are dozens of those balloons in the air at any given time. The so what is because of the speed and stealth of these unmanned aircraft. They are the most dangerous threat to national security that has ever existed. They basically have an unlimited payload capacity and can park it over the White House if they wanted. It's checkmate. U.S. government needs to give the history of this, how we are employing it and weaponizing it, how China is.
Any thoughts on that so far? And what did you think when you started hearing like UAP and anti-gravity thrown around the mix with this manifesto? Had you suspected they were connected? Yeah.
Gravitics, which I think is such an interesting one too. And then what does he mean by the payload? He says that it's like an what did he say? It was like a payload that would like, be totally
oh yeah, like unlimited, or yeah, let's play it back. And I don't know why this video is blurry. Sorry guys.
OPCEN, that's Operations Center. Our OPCEN location for this activity is in the box below. China has been launching them from the Atlantic from submarines for years, but this activity recently has picked up. As of now, it is just a show of force, and they are using it similar to how they used the balloon for SIGINT and ISR, which are also part of the integrated comms system. There are dozens of those balloons in the air at any given time. The so what is because of the speed and stealth of these unmanned aircraft. They are the most dangerous threat to national security that has ever existed. They basically have an unlimited payload capacity and can park it over the White House if they wanted.
Yeah, so what does that mean?
I think it means that they have like unlimited rounds, like they're basically able to generate that, I think, or has something to do with weight, like they're not limited by weight of ammo, is what some people are saying online.
Interesting. That's fascinating. Okay.
I don't know. Okay, here we are.
Checkmate. U.S. government needs to give the history of this, how we are employing it and weaponizing it, how China is employing them and what the way forward is. China is poised to attack anywhere in the East Coast. I've been followed for over a week now from likely Homeland or FBI, and they are looking to move on me and are unlikely going to let me cross into Mexico, but won't because they know I am armed and I have a massive V-bid. Let me pause right there for a second. So he says a massive V-bid. When I was talking to the FBI yesterday, they didn't know what a V-bid was. I had to explain what that acronym meant, literally.
You fucking serious?
Dead serious. I said it twice and he goes, you said that word V-bid. Can you tell me what that is? For your audience, a V-bid, for your audience who has not been in the GWAT for the last 20 years, a V-bid is a vehicle-borne improvised explosive device. In layman's terms, a car bomb, what we saw at Trump Tower. So backing up, he says, I am armed and have a massive V-bid. I've been trying to maintain a very visible profile and have kept my phone, and they are definitely digitally tracking me. Here's where he gets into the other stuff. And this is where we had to redact the names. Well, your producer redacted the names. I have knowledge of this program and also war crimes that were covered up during airstrikes in Nimruz province, Afghanistan in 2019 by the admin, DOD, DEA, and CIA. I conducted targeting for these strikes of over 125 buildings. 65 were struck because of civcas, that's civilian casualties, that killed.
So somebody else in the chat was saying this too. Is he saying, I'm with you on this, First Coast Crypto. So did Mathew control UAP in Afghanistan and they were used during the war crimes he heard about? That's what, when I first heard that, that's kind of what I read. Did you read it that way too? We just listened to that part, Tim.
Yeah,
does it sound like he's saying he was doing UFO stuff out in Afghanistan? Let's run it back.
I've been trying to maintain a very visible profile and have kept my phone, and they are definitely digitally tracking me. Here's where he gets into the other stuff. And this is where we had to redact the names. Well,
wait, hold
your
up.
producer redacted the names.
So what he's also hinting at there as well is that he's trying to keep a low profile because I think it would be a red flag if he went completely off radar, right? Isn't that what he was saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Okay.
It sounds like he didn't want to die, right?
Well, it sounded like he didn't want them to also know that he was up to something.
Interesting. All right, let's play more.
I have knowledge of this program and also war crimes that were covered up during airstrikes in Nimruz province, Afghanistan in 2019 by the admin, DOD, DEA, and CIA. I conducted targeting for these strikes of over 125 buildings. 65 were struck because of civcas, that's civilian casualties, that killed hundreds of civilians in a single day. U.S. FORA continued strikes after spotting civilians on initial ISR. It was supposed to take 6 minutes and scramble all aircraft in CENTCOM. The UN basically called these war crimes, but the administration made them disappear. I was part of that cover-up with U.S. FORA, an agent, redacted, of the DEA. So I don't know if my abduction attempt is related to either. I worked with, redacted, IOs.
That's something. Did you hear that part about the abduction attempt? That's something we're trying to decipher in the space area too. Like, who the hell tried to abduct this guy?
Yeah, I'm curious by that too. I don't think he's necessarily saying that was like a UAP thing. I think he was just necessarily saying that he was, committing war crimes, with predator drones or just different stuff like that. That's how I take it.
And again, guys, we're in the middle of all this like massive psyop on a psyop on a psyop. So I'm not saying to believe this by any means. People are saying maybe Sean Ryan's getting psyop. Maybe. We're in the middle of all this crazy stuff, dude. Hopefully, like in a few years, things will calm down, and you know what I mean. We can look back at this maybe with a finer tooth comb. But as it's all happening, we're going to cover it all. So here we go. Play more.
Staff on this as well as the response to Bala Murghab. Redacted commander at the time, redacted, can validate this. You need to elevate this to the media so we avoid a world war because this is a mutually assured destruction situation. Then he says, for vetting, my LinkedIn is Matt Berg or Mathew Livelsberger, an active duty 18 Zulu out of 110, that's 1st Battalion 10th Special Forces Group. My profile is public. I have an active TSSCI with UAP, USAP access.
What is USAP? Do you know what that is?
I don't know what that is. But I checked his credentials on LinkedIn. So that was the first thing I did. I went to his LinkedIn page.
Had you ever heard of that before?
First thing I noticed was...
What was the acronym again? USAP. Let's go back.
Yeah, USAP.
Duty 18 Zulu.
That's what Greer says all the time. I think it's like unacknowledged special access program for UAP.
Out of 110, that's 1st Battalion, 10th Special Forces Group. My profile is public. I have an active TSSCI with UAP, USAP access.
What is
With UAP access, bro? Top secret security clearance with UAP access? What? That's freaking, dude. They were saying in the space earlier, like this is just like the conspiracy motherload of like, oh, they're all converging. Crazy.
USAP? Do you know what that is?
I don't know what that is. But I checked his credentials on LinkedIn. So that was the first thing I did. I went to his LinkedIn page. First thing I noticed was all of his bona fides were in place. He has all the UAS training from USASOC and everything else. And so I said, okay, at least the guy knows what he's talking about with drones. That was a very rough dig into the guy. But my issue was I couldn't validate or verify any of this information. And I told him that. And how I responded to him was in a subsequent email. I said, this is obviously a very big deal, but I don't have anything to verify this information with. Talking about gravitic propulsion systems without evidence just makes me another UFO talking head. Like, I'm not going to go on my social media page and start talking about UFOs and anti-gravity systems and everything. I don't know what you're talking about. I can't. And he said, can I get on Fox News Contact on Signal as well as Sean's show? Hegseth would be good too. That was his last message to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, thoughts on this? And then Jesse Michaels did highlight, and others did too, that his thing takes you to Groom Lake as the source of the anti-gravitic stuff and whatnot. And I did put Bob Lazar there for the Lazar heads in chat. I know he's another controversial person, but people, yeah. So Groom Lake Area 51 apparently is the source of this deal. Let's see what the exact verbiage was again. We're doing it live. Damn, so much stuff posted
so that's
today.
interesting. And it's interesting too that they don't know the USAP thing too, and that guy isn't familiar with it as well.
He said our operations center for gravitic propulsion is at these coordinates, and yeah, it's that.
Interesting.
And again, the Vegas PD did say it's in, but also it's kind of sketch, right? The whole Vegas PD corroborating it right away, and not that it's accurate, but that it came from him is kind of weird, right? I don't know. It could be weird or could not be weird, but it kind of just reminds me of Yoga Pants Girl being in the house right away. It's like, what's going on here? I don't know.
Well, why would they do that? Like, I mean, have you heard any of
They corroborated that, by the way, within like 40 minutes of that episode airing, which is just so weird. It almost seemed like coordinated. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's strange too. And I mean, and the fact too, I mean, Area 51 is right outside of Las Vegas, Nevada. Has George Knapp commented on this at all either?
I don't know. I haven't been able to keep track of all that yet. I should look around in a bit. I'm trying to find this other thing that people are saying here, bro. Let me see. Maybe this. People are also saying he wrote this stuff. Share this time instead. We are the United States of America, the best country people to ever exist, but right now we are terminally ill and headed towards a collapse. This was not a terrorist attack. It was a wake-up call. Americans only pay attention to spectacles and violence. What better way to get my point across than stun with fireworks and explosives? Why did I personally do it now? I needed to cleanse my mind of my brothers I've lost and relieve myself of the burden of lives I've took. And he says, fellow service members, veterans, and all Americans, time to wake up. We're being led by weak and feckless leadership who only serve to enrich themselves. I think there's a little more I'm going to try and find, but yeah, riff on that. And then I think we're probably going to close up here. Yeah, because that's the last video.
Yeah, George Knapp hasn't done anything yet either on there. And I didn't look at Mr. Four Names' posts either to see if he posted anything. But, you'd think that maybe George Knapp would try to maybe comment on it too. I think I mean, the media confirmed as well, like all of the military credentials of him once they let his name out. But I wonder if they just didn't really know what he was up to, because it sounds like in that specific email, he was trying to be under the radar as well, right? Like he's making the statement that he wasn't trying to give any red flags to whoever was monitoring him, that he was maybe up to something. And was that email too sent from a Pronto account or something? I mean,
Proton,
sure.
I don't know. And like I said, hopefully I'll be able to get into space with the shoemaker guy next few days and maybe ask him some stuff. I'm sure his phone is blowing up like hell. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I mean, Arthur was messaging and saying, why didn't you report this or, put it to authorities or something?
Pray
like
for
that.
Arthur, yo. Pray Arthur. Arthur raged at me today on this Twitter space. He's having a hard time emotionally with all this stuff. Pray for that. I forgive him. He's still my friend, but dude, he was like, he's really, anybody who reports on this, he's like angry. He thinks it's all a psyop and that like even giving any part of this life is like evil, crazy.
Well, then, one thing that he did is that he, had questioned when they had said the FBI had also confirmed this, as well. And he said, well, that should be a red flag there. But then he was also saying when the FBI was talking about the drones and stuff like that in New Jersey, is that why not listen to what they're saying? Or, they're even saying it's not anything. So I'm like, you can't have it both ways. I mean.
Yeah, we're in the middle of some crazy stuff though. So, people are going to get a little worked up. I get it.
I had messaged you with those accounts too of this one woman that was on YouTube here too. It was like Seeing UFOs PA is like her account. And
oh no, yeah, you did, and I need to do a stream about that too because I low-key been going down the chemtrail rabbit hole, and a lot of the old chemtrail videos, and like your girl came up too when I was searching on that. A lot of the shape-shifting, quote unquote, being witnessed, and a lot of the mimicry of like planes with only one engine. You know what I mean? It's kind of being witnessed out there. Well, it's all reported by these chemtrail people and people like that one girl in Philadelphia that you sent me. All these random accounts are just people who see stuff all the time. A lot of the videos look fairly similar, so I don't know.
So, I mean, what's interesting with hers, she used to have a ton of videos, and when I was going through it, I was like, there's a number of them that were gone, and she had some like, there was some of it that was odd, and this is like 15 years ago. The other thing I think is interesting too is that if you look at her page her photo for her, like her page there, I ended up copying it and taking it, but it's that one that Greenwald ended up posting of the UFO with like a 2x4s holding up like a silhouette of a 747 on it.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
like mimicking. He uploaded that like not too long ago, and when I saw that, I was like, oh my god, that's that woman. She had that on her profile for years, and she's not been active on there. So I'm kind of curious where she's gone. Like I tried to Google her and try to figure out her name's like Allison Cruz with a Cruz with a K, Kruse. But anyway, she had even like set up she was adamant, and I was like skeptical of it. There was another guy that had popped up at that point that was like almost like this Mick West, and I'm remembering it as well, where he was like trying to debunk her and was not necessarily harassing her, but like trying to call her out. And even at that time, she was doing flight tracker stuff and like showing specifically like these are not planes that are like flying over. And she
we'll pull media and we'll do a stream about that because it's been on my thing and I want to show you all the chemtrail stuff too. I know it sounds so schizo, guys, I know, but like it's the same thing where like, and it's kind of like what you're saying too. It's like these accounts are filming stuff every day and then they just kind of disappear. They had like 2,000 followers max, but some of them are pretty interesting. And like I said, like planes with one engine when it should have two, like one on each side. You know what I mean? And shape shifting. I don't know what to make of it, guys.
Oh yeah, she had thought like that they make noises or that and you would like look at them and they would like some of them would like alter and like all of a sudden then there's more lights to them, and then she set up cameras around her house and I couldn't find any more of those videos, but she would get these like orb
let's save that, Tim, because I think the audience is like lost. We're like talking about we're going in the weeds, but we'll save that and we'll have a good stream about that because I'm with you on that. And the old chemtrail people, like there's a whole subcategory of chemtrail called fake planes, and that like these things aren't real planes. Yeah, it's crazy. So we'll do that. We'll plan that. But yeah, any other thoughts on the Cybertruck? This update here. We are today, 2025, starting off already. We're already like end of the year in like crazy next level conspiracy land. It's crazy that like the conspiracy land just continues to get more and more crazy, right? Like as if the drones wasn't crazy enough. Now we have this like Tesla bomber manifesto in the mix. And again, it's kind of like and I guess I should play this meme real quick. One more meme for the road. It's like this is back on the menu. It looks like, I don't know. Is it? Is it not?
Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones. That mothership is off, I'm going to tell you the deal. It's off the east coast of the United States of America. They've launched drones. It's everything that we can see or hear. And again, these are from high sources. I don't say this lightly. Now, we know there was a probability. It could have been our own government. We know it's not our own government because they would have let us know. It could have been some really glorified hobbyist or hobbyists that were doing something unbelievable.
But he's basically corroborating the Jeff Van Andrew kind of claims, right?
Van Drew. Yeah, I thought Michael Tracy kind of did like a good breakdown of that. Like he was still adamant that the thing that he saw over Picatinny Arsenal, he was like, I don't know what that was, and he's adamant that was, he did not think it was a drone, and he was like hesitant to say it was a UFO, but he was leaning pretty heavily that he thought that was some other sort of like object that was there. But I thought he made a good point, is that there is, I think, a group of people in Congress there that were using some of this as an opportunity to for more military spending and military budget stuff, which I don't think you can throw out an idea for. Is, I mean, he's talking about Iran, and it's like we keep talking about,
and we're always crazy around the world, right? But that's like next level crazy to be just, I mean, for the like, it's one thing like for the profits in Afghanistan, but it's a whole nother thing for the profits against China.
Van Drew ended up like walking back those comments. He did it in such like a political way, but I think he realized later, and just the way he spoke about it was like such a weird fear-mongering thing. I would love to know who was it specifically. And that was like one thing Tracy started to talk about too. Michael Tracy was saying like, well, who told him this? He's speaking like so emphatically about it, but who was it that was telling him that it's this drone mothership that's out there? So, I think that there was like an opportunity for it. Obviously, that one clip we're playing tonight, Astropol, had, uploaded. They know more about what these things are. And I think the biggest ones are the ones that are flying over Picatinny Arsenal, Langley, the ones that are seen by the police helicopter up in the sky, and the Coast Guard. Like, they have so much more information about that they are not giving the fuller picture specifically about what those are. And that's the thread that I love to follow. To me, I'm like, they're trying to, I think, focus on the hysteria of whether or not they're planes, and kind of showing imagery that is, for most people, would be like, well, that is a plane or blah, blah, blah. But they're doing it to mask, I think, this other thing that is going on there. And that's what I'm fascinated by.
Yeah, I agree, man. Well, we'll get you back on soon. Maybe we'll try and do it by the end of within a 5-day period. If you want to maybe send me the best videos of Homegirl, and I could pull some of the best chemtrail. People in the chat are saying chemtrail pilled now. I mean, dude, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the other thing too. My documentary I have coming up, I have like 8 different examples of these things spraying mist. Maybe I'll do a little preview, just to show you guys like this mist thing is real, yo.
Yeah. I swear Michael Tracy had said too, is that he thought that he had saw something come from that object over Picatinny Arsenal, that he had said he had saw something come from it as well. So that was the other, when I heard him say that, I was like, wait, what the fuck? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
so,
and remember too, the person who we talked about that filmed the UFO near Picatinny Arsenal, that's the one that's causing me all this BS copyright dumb annoyingness. And
it's interesting, huh? I mean, yeah, I think that is even bizarre. What did you say it was called? Hog something? Hog
Viral Hog. Interesting. And you can't find anything about that company. No, I can. They seem to be a scammer company that scammed a lot of other people, but this person TTL said they don't know anything about it. But real quick, we'll end with this. Here's a little sneak peek of my upcoming documentary on part 1, but just highlighting some of this mist stuff. Yeah.
But it's all strange. One weird thing that
Look at this guy. Sky, again. Look at him spraying. Look at that. Look at that. He is spraying the sky again. Bro, this is fucking crazy, man. Look at this guy. They're spraying these guys. Look, he just sprayed that. This guy. This guy just sprayed that.
There's two of them right there, and one of them is clearly spraying. The other one's right next to it.
I don't know that might be.
No, there's not, because I looked in the Flight Tracker app. There is nothing out here.
One right there, look.
This is in Hazlet, New Jersey. Here's another one right there. I can't believe this is really going on, because this is fucking nuts, man. You're right by a light pole, but there's one right there.
Whoa, that other one appeared right there?
So I'm out here in front of my apartment complex, and there's at least 6 of these drones flying around. You know, one of which that just passed overhead is spraying shit out of the back of it. And you cannot tell me that is fucking exhaust, okay? Because the other 6 that are flying around right now are not doing that, and they're all at the same level. So why is one doing it, but the other ones are not? I'm going to switch. You can see it's starting to slowly break apart. If that was steam, it would have evaporated. There's another one right there.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
What?
I mean, they're all over.
In my opinion, red and white lights, they're going over top of us, but instead this one ended up going straight up, and I lost it. Like, it went over us. Once it got to us, it just went straight up, and that was it. It disappeared. And there was also a trail to it, like a chemtrail that I don't know if it's a chemtrail. I'm just saying, like,
I have customers telling me, literally, I had a customer of mine. She says she sees some of them dropping some stuff out of them. She said she saw,
What did
like,
she describe they're dropping?
like a white mist thing. She said she saw that. She saw like a white mist coming out of them. 7.
Yeah, so there's a little sneak peek of the that's draft 5. They take forever to make, guys. But also, like I said, I think I said this before. There's that one Reddit post of some guy who said he got sprayed and like he had to go to the ER. Then in my patron Discord, shouts out to the patrons, longtime patron, told me that one of his mom's tenants was sprayed and had pretty similar reports as to that Reddit guy's post. Like it smelled really bad. It was kind of like messing with their breathing and kind of just like overall irritated. And then I posted about that today, and then people were commenting underneath that like some guy was like, this happened to my mom yesterday in Italy, and she's not even into any of the CFO stuff, and she said she saw an orange thing and that it was spraying something and that it made her like all nauseous and stuff like that. So they're definitely spraying something, in my opinion. The Facebook groups are full, the local Facebook groups are full of people saying like they're seeing stuff, spraying stuff. So that's just a whole nother weird dynamic at play here. But yeah, I think we're going to close it out there. Tim, any last closing thoughts, sir?
No, it's going to be fun to track it. Can't believe it's only the 3rd day of the year, and we'll see where it goes from here. But Stephen Greer still has to come out with his whistleblowers, or maybe he'll give more information about that. So I'm actually going to check out Little Pop-Tart's page after this to see what he's talking about.
Oh, yeah. And real quick, John Gassman says, is the flap over, or are we still getting many signs of... Nope, it's still happening. All the Facebook groups are still super active, super every day there's new videos. Again, I can't post anything on my backup channel anymore because of Viral Hog. Thank you, Viral Hog. But I have some interviews scheduled on Twitter, so if you guys want to go follow me over there, if not, I'll try and upload them somewhere. I got some interviews scheduled with people in New Jersey tomorrow, probably, because all this stuff broke off. I have 2 already scheduled with new people who've been filming stuff since after Christmas. Still very much happening. It just seems that when Biden said it's hysteria, the mainstream media went in on hysteria, and Mick West now is on like every channel saying it's hysteria. But no, very much still happening. So yeah. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Tim. Always a pleasure. Your first drone stream, right? Did you do? You might have did one.
I think we did one before. Yeah.
Oh, you were on the first drone stream on like the other channel. Yeah. Okay.
Stuff, yeah.
Good times. Good times. All right. Well, thank you guys, everyone. We're gonna close out. Probably catch us in a Twitter space or something. Peace out. God bless. Happy New Year.